Today we are checking out the VEZZPA Octave Stinger from BEETRONICS. Good afternoon. How's it going, everyone? I hope you've been doing well. If you're new here, hi, I'm Miles. I do music stuff. And today we are talking about a pedal from the company BEETRONICS, the VEZZPA Octave Stinger. For me personally, it took me a long time to grow an appreciation and fully embrace the effect of fuzz on guitar and just in general as an effect. But once I grew that appreciation, I really dove into it and all the different variations that are available within the realm of fuzz. I even previously did a video talking about different fuzz pedals that I've grown an affinity for. But one of the variations on fuzz itself that I really found myself gravitating towards is octave fuzz, where you have a fuzz effect and there's the incorporation of an octave, usually a higher octave, incorporated into the fuzz circuit itself. I think of artists like Jimi Hendrix, Jack White, St. Vincent, and countless others that have used this sort of effect in their own playing and their compositions, and it's just got this quality to it that I really like. And currently on the market, there's a bunch of different products out there that are trying to replicate that sort of Octavia style octave fuzz, but with the VEZZPA, you get a pedal that gives you that sound with minimal controls, and it's in a very small box. And we're going to get into all the details regarding this pedal in a moment, but first, everyone's favorite part of each of these episodes. If you like what I'm doing here and you haven't already, be sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. It makes these videos visible to more people, and it helps my channel grow, and it's free. So, help a brother out. The VEZZPA Octave Stinger is an op-amp style octave fuzz featuring a multifunctional switch that allows for a momentary mode and switching from the normal fuzz to the fuzz that features the high octave. Beyond that, the other controls that are on this pedal are your master volume and the sustain. You turn the master volume up to make the fuzz effect louder. Imagine that. And depending on where you have the sustain knob set, you either have a full-throated fuzz with an octave on top, or you can get a sputtery fuzz similar to having a fuzz pedal running through a 9-volt battery that's on its last legs. And I wanted to take a moment here to give a shout out to buyerborrowmusic.com for sending this pedal out to me to make this video. This isn't like a paid ad, by the way, like I'm just a customer for now. But yeah, their services are really cool. The staff is really cool. You can get in touch with them almost anytime ever. And if you haven't already, you should go and check them out. I highly recommend it. But with all that said, let's check this thing out and see what's going on here. All right, here we go. So that's with the sustain, well, the level of the fuzz turned down. You turn it down all the way, you get nothing. So Not bad. Sounds pretty good to me. Now, this is one of those instances where you get a new piece of gear, and I always encourage people when they get new stuff to look at the instructions, read the manual that comes with it, whatever it may be. And in this case, we got a little card that has some details about how the secondary functions work with this pedal. Like, for example, if you have it disengaged, and it's just your clean guitar, you can momentarily engage with the fuzz, and it'll stay on until you let go. Then it turns off again. So yeah, you have the momentary function, but in addition to that, if you have it on, and you want to engage the octave, you would just hold your finger or your foot down on the pedal while it's already been on, and that engages the secondary octave function. So that's pretty cool. It's something that is functional, I think, in most capacities. Even if you had this pedal on a board that had a that was running through a loop switcher, you could still just like step over to it for that function. So cool. I like it. And you can get some of that sputtery goodness from having the volume turned down on your guitar. Just because it's got less signal to respond to. It reminds me very much of like the fuzz from the VEZZPA Fuzz Factory. Like that sort of gated thing. Or even like if you think of the White Stripes, the song Icky Thump, like that sort of thing. But yeah. I think I like the fact that even when I roll back on the volume, it doesn't really clean up like you can get with like a Big Muff or Fuzz Face. In this case, it's just like a blatantly silicone fuzz going on. I actually don't know if it's a silicone fuzz. I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, go ahead and roast me in the comments. But it sounds like silicone. But it maintains that same characteristic whether the volume is at full blast or not. The difference being just the gating on the actual signal itself. So you're really just kind of controlling the level of volume of the effect rather than the effect in relation to the volume of your signal, if that makes sense. I like that the octave really doesn't come out. It doesn't make itself known until you get into the higher register of the fretboard. This is very much, again, reminiscent for me of the ZVEX Fuzz Factory. And almost like an Octavia sort of style fuzz, octafuzz. And yeah, I dig it a lot. I don't really have any reservations about this thing because it's just like, it's good right out the box. So you don't really hear the octave in that case, but then and so it gets this kind of like that splatty sound quality to it. I dig it a lot. I think it's really cool. Normally, if you wanted to get that sort of quality of a sort of Octavia style octafuzz, I think you'd be spending more money. But yeah, this is doing the job. It's doing the thing. Oh yeah. Lazy B mode. Unplug the power supply, hold the foot switch down and connect the power. Light will blink between the fuzz and stinger LEDs. After a couple seconds with it blinking, let go of the foot switch and the pedal is set to Lazy B mode. Now your single click can be up to 350 milliseconds long. To go back to standard fast B mode, simply remove the power and cable and turn it back on and back on again. So, okay, let's see. So we do that. Now we're going to plug it back in. Those lights are blinking. After a couple seconds of the blinking, let go of the foot switch and pedal set to Lazy B mode. Okay. So your single click can be up to 350 milliseconds long. I don't think I get it. Okay. I don't understand. In order for the VEZZPA foot switch to process multiple functions, the single click needs to be no longer than 250 milliseconds. In other words, you should make it a quick click. Otherwise, it may recognize as a hold. If you'd rather have a longer single click, there's a way to restart the pedal. Oh, okay, I get it. But, like, still. That's it. Okay. Who can't handle a single click? Like, I get it. But, I don't know. It seems like a, unnecessary extra step. See, like, I thought if you're going to have a secondary function to the foot switch, that maybe it would do something like it just automatically goes to the fuzz with the octave on it, rather than you having to hold the switch down once you've already initially engaged it. But, okay. Whatever works, man. As far as my takeaways from the VEZZPA, I really like this thing. As a guy who tends to favor silicon fuzzes and gravitates towards octave fuzzes, having sort of those qualities in one enclosure, it scratches an itch for me that other pedals don't necessarily scratch. To me, it kind of reminds me of one of my favorite fuzzes, even though you might not necessarily categorize it as a fuzz, but the Third Man Hardware version of the plasma coil from Game Changer Audio, because of all the secondary octave features that are available on this pedal. It also has qualities that I would attribute to things like the ZVEX Fuzz Factory. This is the Fuzz Factory Probe. It's got this copper pad that you can manipulate stuff on it. But I have like a Fuzz Factory standard, even though the one that I have has both silicon and germanium transistors in it. But that quality of fuzz that's associated with those, I hear it in the VEZZPA, and I really like it. But also in comparison to these two pedals that are much bigger and have way more knobs, the VEZZPA is quite the solution size-wise and in terms of its parameters that you can adjust. If there was any aspects of this pedal that I would be critical about, I think it would be the function of the multifunctional switch here. As I said in the demo, there's a little piece of paper that comes with the pedal that tells you about a lazy B mode that allows a bit more leeway when you're trying to use this in momentary mode versus just trying to use it in its standard mode of turning it on and off manually. I think if there was a secondary mode where you could set this pedal up where when you turn it on, it immediately goes to the fuzz with the octave included, that would be much better. I think that would be a better use of a secondary function within this pedal. And for all I know, BEETRONICS already came out with a reissue of this pedal, or they have some other effect in their lineup that sort of finds the solution to that problem and is just immediately fuzz with octave when you turn it on. But yeah, I was trying to think of a scenario where that secondary lazy B mode was going to be beneficial to not just me, but other players out there that would be using this pedal. Is it something that is going to be beneficial overall to somebody out there versus having a function where when you turn the pedal on, it's immediately doing the thing that's supposed to be its specialty? Because for me, if I had this on my board, ideally I'd like to have it running through my loop switcher, already on, already set up in a manner where I can have the fuzz with the octave on top. So then I can just have it in a loop and just jump to it when I want it, rather than having to still manually put my foot on the switch in order to access that octave. But again, for all I know, BEETRONICS already has a pedal that does that in response to perhaps other people also saying they want this to do that thing. I don't know. But yeah, for $200, you can get your hands on this little guy. And I think it's great. I think it's a really good pedal, and if you have the means to do so, definitely go and check it out. And that's all I got for you guys for today. I know this video is shorter than my usual runtime, and I'm sure some of you will be very happy about that. But the truth is that if this video comes out on Saturday, that's my daughter's birthday. And so I wanted to make sure that I was dedicating all my focus to her. For her special day. I was actually upstairs earlier this evening decorating so that when she wakes up she can find all the decorations in the house. So doing that and then wrapping gifts, all the fun stuff. But with all that being said, I hope you still found this video to be interesting and informative. And if you haven't already and you like what I'm doing here, be sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. Because, say it with me now, it's free! And if you like what I'm doing here and you want to do more to support beyond liking and subscribing, I'll leave down in the description below a link to my Patreon page where you can check out what perks are attached to your support over there. Shout out to my patrons who help make these videos possible. I truly appreciate you guys. You're making these videos a lot easier for me to make on a more frequent basis, and I can't thank you enough. But yeah, that's all for me this time around. I hope you'll stick around for the next video. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. I have a couple things that are in the works, but I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the definitive next thing. So stick around to see what that is. Beyond that, stay safe, keep playing. Peace.